This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday with Foster Financial, and today we're going to continue our conversation discussing the big beautiful bill and how it can impact you and your finances. And joining me today is Caleb Doan, the Vice President. Hello, Caleb.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks very much.
Okay, so last time we spoke about how the big beautiful bill really extended tax cuts that were set in 2017.
Yep.
And so now we're going to talk about Social Security tax. And essentially, the framework of it is part of the bill. It was announced like no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Did that happen?
So yeah, the taxes on Social Security, the tax laws around it did not change with this bill. What did happen is that there's an additional, what they're calling senior bonus deduction that people over the age of 65 can take. And so while it doesn't, directly impact Social Security, the idea of it is that it's going to lower your taxable income for, people over 65 as long as they're within certain income limits, and kind of in a roundabout way reduce your overall taxes and, save you money on taxes, even though it's not directly for Social Security.
So when would they feel that impact? Like at what point? Is it when they file their taxes? Is it at the end of the year? How does that work?
Yeah, so it takes place starting in 2025 for the 2025 tax year, which is good that they're getting it kind of early here. So certainly people might get a little bit more of a return at the end of the year, but of course, your taxes throughout the year is kind of a bit of a guessing game. So you're withholding a certain amount on your income, but you never know exactly what your income is going to be at the end of the year. So you kind of settle up when you do your taxes there. I imagine if people are getting too much in refunds, they can just have less withheld from their taxes next year, and then they're getting that cash flow throughout the year, which can be a really good thing. What the senior bonus is an extra $6,000 deduction per taxpayer for those who are over the age of 65 within certain income limits. So basically you would still be able to take the normal standard deduction or the itemized deduction, and then you'll get an extra $6,000 per taxpayer to write off.
Okay. And so now I know we're about to go through these numbers and the halves, the pages, and all of that,
exactly.
Caleb. Okay, so who qualifies?
Yeah. So the people that qualify are those who are over 65 first, and then the income limits for a single filer is $75,000 of modified adjusted gross income. For joint filers, it's double that, $150,000.
That's the max that they can make?
If you make under that, you get the full $6,000 deduction per taxpayer. If you make over that, it starts getting reduced a little bit. And then I think it's fully phased out at like $175,000 for single filers and like $250,000 for joint filers. So if you're somewhere within that range, then it'll be less than the $6,000. If you're a joint filer making over $250,000, you wouldn't get any extra deduction there. So it's certainly aimed at people who are in kind of the lower to mid tax brackets, giving them an extra break on their taxes. Okay,
and so starting this year, like filing for the 2025 taxes, if anyone is 65 and older, make $75,000 or less as a single filer, $150,000 or less as a joint filer, they get that full $6,000 credit added back when they file.
I guess one little change, instead of a credit, it's a deduction. And so, credit is typically the government actually just giving you, the $6,000. The deduction, you get to write it off of your income. So, I mean, if you're, a joint filer and you each get it, so $12,000 total, if you're in the 22% tax bracket, 22% of, that $12,000 would be a little bit over $2,500 as a reduction in the actual taxes that you're paying there, which is certainly a nice little benefit, right? It's an extra $2,500 in your pocket at the end of the year when you're filing the taxes, which can be a great thing. I'd say, different people are, talking about how it's not actually reducing Social Security tax, which is correct. At the same time, though, if I'm getting $1 from the government, to some extent, I don't really care whether it's from Social Security or whether it's from a different, bucket. $1 is still $1. But at the end of the day, there's still going to be people who are paying taxes on Social Security. There's people who weren't paying taxes on Social Security prior to this legislation. So it's kind of aimed in an indirect way just to reduce overall taxes.
And so as people gear up, I know that this just got rolled out, so I'm not sure if these details are available, but what do people have to do to apply this? Is it something that automatically gets added as a bonus, or do they have to take all these steps and have to be in the know to be able to get it?
Yeah. So I mean, certainly, if you file your taxes with the CPA, they're going to know exactly, what to do on this and who qualifies. But even if you're self-preparing and you're doing it on TurboTax or something, all that software gets updated every single year with the new legislation that gets passed. So I would certainly imagine that you're going to be prompted. You have to input what your date of birth is, and it knows what your modified adjusted gross income is. So it's likely going to automatically apply all this, even if you're self-filing.
Yeah. Okay. So final question: is this change permanent?
Yeah. So this one is not permanent.
Okay.
So this, I think, lasts from 2025 through 2028 tax years. After that, it's set to expire. So you'll no longer get the senior bonus, $6,000 additional deduction per taxpayer. While it's here, certainly worth taking advantage of.
2025, 2028. So this is the time to be 65.
Yeah, exactly.
The time to be alive. I love it.
Yeah, it's a bummer if you turn 65 in 2029.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Caleb. I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you would like more information about Foster Financial, we'll have their website and phone number listed below. This is why a financial advisor is so important. They can break down all of these details and stay in the know so that you know. And I look forward to seeing you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.